delusion when it's not real. But when it's real, it's like, oh, we didn't see it. We didn't see it.
Yeah.
I was driving around when I first got here and looking at the billboards and saying, that's me. I'd see whoever's in the car with me. Even with Caesar, I'd be like, that's me up there. I'm up to a point where when it actually happened, I was like, yeah, that's been up there. You know, it wasn't me chasing clout. Clout is a tool. It's a part of the process.
I hear you.
Just the same way like the creativity is part of the process. The music for me is part of the process, because beyond the fame and the hype and the TV and, you know, the privilege of being here and things like that, this is all just stepping stones towards my end goal. You know, it's chess game, and I'm patient with it.
So you finally audition for Big Brother. You get the call or the email that you've been selected. What's going through your brain that day? Do you think you realized what's about to happen?
Yeah, I had a good idea.
Yeah.
Not because I watched the show, but because if it... See, the thing is, when I got the call, they were saying, you're not chosen yet. We just need to do a few more steps, you know? So I didn't feel like I was going to get it until I walked into the house.
I hear you.
The whole time I was like, I could still not get it because anything could happen. We're sitting there in the place that they secluded us from everything and for a certain amount of time, no internet, no phone. I don't really know why they did that. But in my mind, I'm like, this is a step towards now showcasing the discipline that I've worked on, the meditation, the manifesting what I believe is going to happen, you know, the delusion that I was talking about, you know, and I'm still living very much in that. A huge part of me is like, I feel like I'm at the level of your Black Coffee, or Trevor Noah, Tuso, because I have access to these people, you know. So for me, it's like these are my, and a director put it so perfectly. He said to me, as an actor, your office is the screen.
Sure.
And if your office is a screen, that means you're competing with your co-workers, like everybody.
It's every single person on screen.
So we're looking at your Denzel. That's your co-worker. You need to look at it like that. You look at him and you say, what can I learn from that? What can I
pitch at that level?
Yeah. That's what we need more of in South Africa specifically. But what I've found is that like the traditional means of going about things specifically in South Africa is just kind of limiting. It's very limiting. So I commend people like you that decide to be trailblazers and create your own path, because you're speaking so much more to the younger version of you that's also watching it. Like, how can I, you know? I think when I first started, it was 2018. Yeah, I started recording myself, giving advice to other rappers and saying, I haven't made it yet, but when I do, I want you to come back and watch this video. See the delusion, you see what I'm talking about? And now I'm looking at it like, I'm almost there. I'm almost there. So if you watch that video on YouTube of me literally speaking to the camera and saying, giving rap advice as if I had already made it, and saying, you need to write your lyrics, you need to know yourself, you need to, you know, all these things, it's paid off, and it's still paying off day in, day out.
You told me that you didn't believe that Big Brother was happening, even in that process where they had secluded you guys, which, by the way, I believe is just playing with your brain a bit, so that when you get into the house, you give your all. You give your all, in that process where you only believed it when you walked in, do you think it came from a place of being traumatized by a lot of rejection before, where you were trying, but it's just not happening?
Partly, yes, but a huge part of me is, if I get a call right now saying, I just got $1 million or a couple millions in my accounts for a job, I'm going to take a deep breath, and I want to sober up as much as possible and be present in the moments. That's just my character. I won't want to get too excited, because I've noticed the pattern of, I'm a student of school of life. You know, I notice a pattern of when you're too happy, something comes down to balance you.
Sure.
You know, so I try my best. I try my best to keep a level head, you know. So when someone says, oh, you're in Big Brother, I'm like, okay. What am I going to do with this? Am I going to be rapping every day? And I ask those type of questions when I'm going for interviews. Can I rap every day? Can I speak to the cameras? You know, and they say, no, you don't do this. Just be yourself. Just be you. And I'm like, oh, that kind of goes with the theme of what I'm trying to manifest, the whole be you thing, you know? So, and I feel like the following and the people who followed me from there could see what I was manifesting, how I was moving and why I was moving like that.
It absolutely makes sense, because, as you're saying, the BU then fits in. Speaking of the BU, why BU? Was that the rapper name that just evolved into Big Brother?
Somewhat. The rapper name and the public name when I grew up at Tegwini was TJ.
Okay.
So a lot of people.
Hey, like my acronyms.
TJ stood for Trust Jesus.
Okay. Oh,
So,
wow.
I'm actually, I'm a pastor. I'm literally.
No ways.
I studied to be a pastor. I kid you not. I studied to be a pastor, and I was about.
So you're into Bible school?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was about radically uplifting the community, specifically the youth. Even in my township, Mlazi, I'd go to these individual young men's places, like their houses, and pray with them and fast with them and speak life unto them, and then we'd crump, we'd dance, and then we'd have a whole clique.
Hey, that's it.
That's it. We were about that life, you know. For me, I lived it, I meant it, I did everything I did because I meant it, you know. And then when I came to Joburg, I decided to just like, I can't be Trust Jesus anymore. I feel like I have to put on this show now that makes sense to me, not to the Christian side of me, but to me, to my soul.
Did you feel it would be limiting also commercially?
No, it wasn't because of that. It was evolving. Like you said, it was a matter of evolving. I would have made it as TJ still because of that delusion.
Yeah.
Because my first job was a door-to-door salesman. My first job ever. Yeah. You understand? Door-to-door, so I'm coming to your space, knocking on your door. You say no.
The amount of boldness that requires.
Confidence, you know, growth. And I pray that if I do have children, that they're able to do that too and go through and be friends with failure, be friends with rejection. Don't let it stop you from moving. Be friends with falling down. You know, at some point I was a breakdancer. And one thing it first taught me was, learn to be good at falling. You know, that's you fall in a cool way and you get up and dance move. And it's like, oh, they lose their mind. It's like, get used to falling. Don't be scared of it. Because only the people who are winners, they like, I think it was Kobe Bryant who said he's missed more shots than he's made. How many shots has he? He's made millions of shots. So if you see him in the game and he's getting those three and he's dunking and he's like, I've missed so many. He's humbled at the fact that he's actually dropping 60 in a game. He's got like so many trophies to his name. You get what I'm saying? So he's humbled by the fact that he's missed so much more.
I hear you.
So same way with me, I've gotten so many more rejections. This to me is just like, if more of the rejections were yeses, trust me, I'd be Hollywood right now, you know. But I'm okay with the fact that maybe I'm meant to create my own Hollywood.
Is it the Oscars or the Grammys that Trevor Noah is hosting? But I think he's hosting them for the third or fourth time. That's one of the biggest stages in the world as a host. But there are many people who don't know how many auditions Trevor Noah failed in. And because people are not friendly with the word failure, they don't want to accept that success is failure.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
That's all it is.
It's part of the journey. Before a child learns how to walk, they have to fall a couple times. You can't baby them through everything. They have to fall. They have to consistently fall until they're not scared of falling anymore. And that's the first part. You're already halfway there when you're not scared of falling, you know. And then now you just got to be consistent. And I find that consistency comes, for me, consistency is the vehicle. Delusion is the fuel to it. And maybe delusion is the wrong word, but it's that persistent, that drive, that nothing else matters, that focus, that tunnel vision focus of nothing else is going to distract me. Because
do you know what I think delusion is? And I've seen it in my own life in certain areas where I've done well, is that your spirit as a human is something that's personal to you. It tells you your future, only you. And it's for you to listen and take actions that are in line with that word that is within you only. And it's perceived as delusion, as you're saying. Only until you're successful, people are like, wow, you're so amazing. You're like, guys, I've been doing this for 10 years. I've been saying this.
And it's so easy to be petty. And I think I watched an interview a while back with Tupac where he was talking and he was mad at the interviewer because he had come so many times and knocked on that door and they said no. Now he's popping off. Now he's like, man, screw this guy. You know, like, I'm here, but like I don't like you. You know? So a huge part of what I've learned through analyzing and learning and watching the greats, you know, that have done it in entertainment, i.e. your Michael Jacksons, your Tupacs, you know, all those people that I've watched, I'm seeing that the rejection is a part of the journey. But beyond that, don't be petty. Vibrate at that level of gratitude. Even when the door gets shut and slammed on your face. Thank you, that didn't waste my time. That was a straight no. Thank you.
Right?
That said no.
Then making me linger on thinking it's going to happen. And it
So man, it's just such a beautiful thing. And I want to say also, you know, to the youth and the younger people watching this, it's like not everybody needs to follow the trends and be and be a BU.
Yeah.
You know, so like you said, engineering, right? That's a beautiful thing. We need more versatility and diverse. My legacy is I don't want to make more rappers. I don't want to make more actors. I don't want people sitting there to be like, yeah, I can rap too. I want people to follow their hearts and their soul and their journey.
Yeah,
you know, so if you're meant to be a teacher, be the best teacher.
Be the best to ever be. Yeah.
Be that, be the best version of yourself.
Yeah.
That's my mantra.
Yeah. The transition into acting, I want to get into that a bit as well, because as I said, you're multi-talented and you seem to be doing so well in all these different spheres.
Thank you.
The transition into acting, was it once again an intentional decision or it just found you?
No, I studied acting. So back in high school, I did acting. After high school, I did acting. I always knew it was going to be a tool. So I was, I was the child that never, although I grew up there, I wasn't living there. I was there. You know what I mean? Like my mother was very protective. So I wasn't one of those kids that were running and playing on the streets. It was school, home, school, home. If friends want to come over, they come over, but for a limited time. You know, it's almost like, I like that she did that, but she was also under her own delusion of like, let me just protect this kid as much as possible. And she did a great job. I feel I could have turned out anyway, but the way I turned out, I gave a huge part or props to my parents for raising me the way they did. You know, I had posters on my room of actors and musicians. It was a perfect balance. So right in the center of my bed on the wall behind me, there'll be The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, there'll be Will Smith, all these great actors and their movies and what's coming next. So your Johnny Depps, all of that. And the other side, it would just be Tupac, it would be Eminem, 50 Cent, all those rappers. And I believe that those two worlds were how my mind was, how my internal was, you know. Till this day, I'm still very cognizant of that. I manifest still till this. Before I even came here, I hit up a very beautiful, was it 25 minutes? Wow. It was supposed to be 10 minutes, but it ended up being 25 minutes of a meditation. And in there, I'm just like being present, calling myself to myself in this moment and just saying, whatever happens, I will adapt. You know, I'm okay with who I am right now. I'm okay with all sides of me, future, past, and present. Yeah. Making that peace is very important. It's a daily ritual.
It's a daily decision.
Yeah, for me, it's a daily ritual.
Yeah.
I call it a ritual, not a ritual, because rich you are. You get it?
Yeah.
Wordplay. Yeah.
Into the acting, you audition, but the big break, I'd say, is the Showmax show, which is adulting.
Yeah.
That has probably made you solidify as being known as an actor. People see you as that too. I just didn't want to use those words.
Yeah.
But how does that particular role find you? Does somebody call you to audition?
I like this question that you're asking me, because I think this is the most truthful answer I'm going to give. I've been asked this question in different ways, but the energy is just giving, so I'm going to tell you. I had auditioned for the role already.
Okay.
Right. I did not get it.
Wow.
I auditioned for the role of Bonga.
Okay.
Bonga, the number
the
one.
lead.
Yeah. I got a friend of mine who told me, there's this new show coming up, 4 guys. I think you do well as this guy, which is the character that I ended up getting.
Yeah.
I said, no. I want to change the status quo. I can personally more relate to the Bonga character.
Okay.
Not because he's number one on the call sheet, but because, geez, I'd love to manifest that for my life. Because I feel like the more you act something, the more you manifest it into your life as well. You know? And I auditioned self-tape during COVID, so they saw it, they didn't get back to me. My life carried on. That after a while, you build a tough skin, and you just kind of keep going. And lo and behold, I landed more roles elsewhere, and I got close to the directors. Now they putting me in their inner circles, not knowing who I'm meeting, just being myself and being the person that I believe that I like to be. I believe that I operate as if I am that multi-millionaire already. That's how I operate. You know, whether I am or not is another thing, but I feel it, I see it, I am it. Long story short, I meet the people who are the execs of the show. I don't know that they're execs at all. You know, they speak to me and they just decide on their own that this is the guy, you know. And I get a call in the morning saying, hey, we think you might just have landed a role on this show. So I didn't audition for it. And
Crazy.
then they said, okay, wait, hold on. Let's just see though. Can you act? Because you're being the character.
Yeah.
You know, and there's this TJ thing that I put on when I'm out and about. I'm charismatic. I'm the life of the party. But it's not, I'm not one dimensional. That's not who I truly am.
So they saw the character just by hanging out with you in that space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then from there, it just literally was a phone call. I showed up for the audition. I was early. I was on time. I knew my lines. Everything was just aligned. It was just so beautiful to be able to be afforded the opportunity after that bus has left me. The bus had left me and someone said, hey, get in my Ferrari. I'll take you there. Forget the bus. I'll get you there in my Ferrari. Apparently somebody else had already landed the role that I took from them.
So somebody had to be called and said, unfortunately, it won't work anymore.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's the industry. That's the nature of the beast.
Yeah,
I've had that happen to me as well.
Yeah,
I hope whoever it was that this is, you don't stop. Keep going, man. Keep going. It wasn't intentional.
Yeah.
It just aligned for me at that time. So
it was your time.
It is definitely still.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Do you relate at all to the role?
Big time.
Yeah.
It's a path. There's many paths I could have taken in my life.
Yeah.
I was married at some point in my life. I was studying to be a pastor at some point in my life. I was a hardcore cutthroat salesman at some point in my life. I was a personal trainer.
You were a banker.
I was a banker. These are all different life paths that, if you look at the and Doctor Strange, I'm a huge Marvel fan, but Doctor Stephen Strange is my favorite character.
Sure.
Right? Next to Tony Stark, but Doctor Stephen Strange, he talks about multiverses, parallel universes, and I was able to tap into every single different side of me. I believe that another side of me is still currently a banker and maybe even enjoying it at this point, and maybe even have kids in that path. And another me is like maybe a salesman, and another me has a church and preaching on top of its lungs and reaching out to the people. But this is the path that makes more sense to me. I had to pull myself and fight for this, and this is now me.
The character, though, comes across, especially in season 1 of Adulting, as very erratic. Would you say there's elements of where you are indecisive and erratic and you're chasing the big life rather than being put together and making decisions that make sense?
He's the youngest in the crew.
Okay.
The funny thing is the character is, Vuyani is the youngest out of all the guys. So I had to tap into a younger me, It doesn't mean that's how I am now. I'm a grown man, I'm going through everything I've gone through. I make decisions from that.
Okay.
But I had to remove all those layers of who Uluthando is to tap into Vuyani. So yes, there's a Vuyani inside me. It exists. I think there's a Vuyani in everyone.
Yes.
Literally, that's what I believe, especially gents. Who wouldn't like to have an older woman taking care of all their bills, giving them the clothes, giving them the cars? Every man,
bro,
I believe would.
We
love
are all
that.
tired of working.
We would love that.
We saw Vienna like we're like, damn.
Yeah, all you have to do is make sure she's good and you can live. That's beautiful. That's nice. However, that everything you choose has repercussions and consequences to every single thing. I learned that consequences. I watch movies a lot. I'm a student. I watched John Wick, and after killing all these people, he sits down with these people and he says. Consequences, because now they have to kill him, and he's like, he understands. There's a common understanding in every single world that to every action there's a reaction. So I feel like his choices and people who choose that path of the slaying life, there's repercussions.
There's consequences.
Yes.
So in season 2, though, Vuyani seems to be making better decisions, taking shape. Well, from what we've seen so far, he's trying his best to have some direction, have decent work. Once again, because you had to tap into a younger version of yourself, would you say the more mature version, you can also relate to what Vuyani is going through now?
I can understand it. I wouldn't say relate. I can understand it. See, the thing is, we all know what we need to do in order to be who we need to be. But only a few are able to do it and stick to it. Most people want to have fit, healthy bodies, have abs, have arms. And I'm speaking out because I used to be a personal trainer. And you know what you need to cut out. And it's very possible. You can do it. However, it's a habit. You have to defeat the habits. Vuyani has to face that in his path. He knows what he wants to be. He wants to be financially secure, which is what it's very common. Most of us want to be. Actually, all of us want to be okay financially and have not to stress anymore about where the check comes from, and you want a lot of money. However, the addiction of the path and the life that you know of, easy access to easy money. That's something that you have to fight. Addiction is everywhere. You know, you could be addicted to social media, can be addicted to this podcast. Hopefully, if you are addicted to this podcast, press like, subscribe.
That's
share
the one.
this, you know what I'm saying? If you are addicted to this podcast and other things also, we don't notice what we're addicted to. A friend of mine a while back said to me, we're addicted to food. We're addicted to water.
Sure.
You know, and I was like, damn, I never thought of it like that. Everything can be, I believe, if you can moderate and control your consumption of every and anything, you have control over your life.
That makes so much. Introducing the epitome of luxury living. Kalu Luxury Villas and Suites, your private sanctuary of opulence and elegance. Nestled amongst the lush, sun-kissed landscapes of Durban, KwaZulu-Natal, this Kalu Luxury Villa is a paradise of tranquility, offering breathtaking panoramic views of the neighborhood. Step into a world of refined luxury where every detail has been meticulously crafted to create an atmosphere of sophistication and comfort. This villa is kept within a gated and secure property for your peace of mind. The Kalu Villa is available for both short-term and long-term stays, making it the ideal location for your next vacation or special event. This villa boasts spacious living areas and floor-to-ceiling windows that flood the interior with natural light, making you feel at one with the surrounding beauty, paired with multiple terraces, an outdoor lounge, and a dining area. Live the dream, make memories, and indulge in the life you deserve. Contact us today to book your stay or to learn more about this exquisite property. Your oasis of opulence awaits.